I'd like to call the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners meeting of January 20th to order. Please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, everybody. At this moment, then, I'd be looking for a motion to approve our regular agenda as proposed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Felber. All those in favor? Roll call. Oh, that's right.
Aye.
We're going to do roll call. We're going to do roll call vote, Brad.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher.
Aye.
It passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next item on our agenda is open forum. And is there anybody to speak at open forum?
Board Chair, there's no one signed up for open forum.
All right, thank you. At this moment, then, we will move on to our consent agenda. Is there anything to pull from consent agenda for separate consideration?
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull item number 12.
Okay. Anything else? All right, so I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the removal of item number 12, which would be considering the approval of a legacy grant agreement with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for the Great Northern Regional Trail Project.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls,
Second.
second by Commissioner Felber. Roll call vote?
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. So we will now take up item number 12 on the consent agenda.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, the reason I wanted this pulled is I see that we have, the grant did not include money for the EV chargers or the bike chargers. And I don't know why we're putting EV chargers and bike chargers in a park where we're getting, I'd like to know, are they going to be chargers that people have to pay to use? And I don't like the idea of the county being in the business of supplying, power. I mean, it also shuts off, when you have an EV-only parking spot, it shuts off about 95% of the people out there cannot use that parking spot.
All right. Gina, do you have answers to the questions, or can you clarify what this is all for?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a grant for the Great Northern Regional Trail Partnership. So the partners involved in this grant are the county, of course, and the city of Elk River and the city of Zimmerman. And each jurisdiction has a portion of the project and bears the burden of those costs. So the EV charging is in Zimmerman's project portion, which is the trailhead facility. And that is all on the cost of the city of Zimmerman. The partnership hasn't determined whether or not the EV charging stations would be pay to use or not. They are facilities that the city of Zimmerman will own, and the public engagement that'll be conducted through the design process will probably inform exactly what the charging stations will look like, and it would be up to the city of Zimmerman what they want to own and maintain.
So then all costs would be borne by the city of Zimmerman with anything to do with the charging stations,
That's correct.
and whether they're going to charge for the cost of them, and they'll pay the electric bill and everything.
Correct.
And just as a clarification, was this a request by the city of Zimmerman? They wanted these charging stations?
So The charging station idea was put into the trailhead facility design in the master planning process for the Great Northern Regional Trail. So it's a concept that includes EV charging for bikes and cars. And then the design process and the public engagement will further inform how that wants to look when it's actually constructed.
But just to clarify again, so that if they do go in through the public input phase, it would be owned, operated, and constructed through the city of Zimmerman, not the county, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Because I guess, so I agree from a county perspective, I don't really want to be in the business of I think back to the 80s when mopeds were, all the rage, and, a county wouldn't have put up, gas pumps, for mopeds and those sort of things. So I really wouldn't want to be in that business. But if this is something that the city of Zimmerman wants, and it's part of their, obviously the trail projects are all part of the, different parts of it are owned by different entities, right? And in this case, this part of it is owned by Zimmerman. If this is something that Zimmerman wants to do, I wouldn't tell them, you can't do that. But I just want to separate out what we would do as a county versus that. So I'm okay with it if that's what Zimmerman wants to do.
Yeah, as long as they're not ours.
Yep, and just for
guess.
clarification, that includes maintenance of those chargers as well for Zimmerman.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
All right, does that answer that? Help?
Yep, that answers the question.
All right, if there are no further questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve number 12 on our, 3.12 on our agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Schumacher and a second by Commissioner Halls. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Danielewski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Halls.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the commission, just a couple of quick announcements for you. Looking ahead, we do want to finalize travel arrangements to DC, so Brian and I will be reaching out to you individually to make sure we have all the information correct. And then we'll be setting up a schedule for that so that we are good to go for that. Obviously, the extreme cold has caused some issues with some of our communities, but we've experienced nothing in our buildings or facilities, and Andrew's been out to his crews as much as possible. But if you hear of any areas that are slick or roads that need to be addressed, especially with the high winds, please let us know as soon as possible so we can address them. With that, I'll stand for any questions the board may have.
Any questions for Mr. Messelt?
No.
Just a last note, you did meet the History Center Executive Director. She has resigned. So we will be working with the History Center to probably initiate a new process. We were involved in the first one. That's it.
All right, thank you. Next item on our regular agenda is consider approval of the resolution number 012026-AD-3263 to acquire property for the County State Aid Highway 33 Improvement Project in the city of Elk River. Mr. Rodell.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about our County Road 33 project located west of Auburn Street to County Road 13 in the city of Elk River. We're at the point in design where we're going to start acquiring right-of-way, primarily in permanent and temporary easements. That's how we acquire. No parcel acquisitions will be occurring from this point moving forward. So again, it's permanent and temporary easements. And I request that you approve the resolution to allow us to begin acquisition of right-of-way.
Any questions for Mr. Rodell? All right, if not, then I'd be looking for a motion to approve the resolution.
So move. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Halls,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielewski.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda is to review and consider approval and awarding of bids for the county jail piping replacement project.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. We're going to give you an update on this particular project, and there'll be some iterative discussions here so that we can get you up to speed. Carrie's going to start, I believe, and then provide you some information. But we want to prepare you, so the original thoughts and estimates that we discussed were a little bit out of target. So we've had to do some refiguring for this. So brace yourselves, and please accept the information as we present it.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. Good morning, all. My name is Carrie Everson. I'm a senior project manager with Adolphson and Peterson Construction. We've been retained by the county to manage the pipe replacement project for the jail. So just a little recap of the work that we've done. We've been meeting with the maintenance folks and the jail staff to assess and determine what the need was. There was architecture and engineering firms retained to create the contract documents that encompassed all of the work that needed to be done. We then advertised for bids and sent that scope of work out for bids. That occurred, I think it was in early December, end of November, early December. So we advertised that for 3 weeks in addition to soliciting other bidders through our bidders list internal to A&P. We received bids on the 23rd of December, which not a great day, but we did have a wide variety of bidders propose on this project. And so we have, I think in your board packet, it identifies the scopes of work that we're looking to issue contracts for. It would be fire protection. So basically the scope of the project is to replace the piping, the domestic piping lines internal to the building, which requires us to remove ceiling material to access the pipes, replace the pipes, reinsulate the pipes, and then reinstall the ceiling material that had to be removed. So those scopes of work included then, we've got the selective demolition to remove the ceilings, and then the piping itself, the replacement of piping itself, and then the affiliated trades that go with the ceiling removal and restoration. So that's, we have drywall and framing, painting, the suspended ceilings, and then also impacted is the fire protection for the sprinkler heads and some of the light fixtures and fire alarm devices that are in those ceiling spaces. So we had put together a summary of the bids that we received and have a recommendation for the low bidders to receive those contracts. Total cost of the project right now is $3,440,996.
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
Sure, it's $3,440,996.
So that's a little higher than, obviously, our estimate. We had estimated, I think, Dan, what, about 2.7 million?
We estimated about 2 million. I don't think it was understood the amount of labor that this project would take, and that was the reason for the difference.
So Dan's going to talk a little bit about, we spent a couple weeks to kind of scrub financing options for the board, and so he'll go over those with you right now.
So good morning, Commissioners. Like I said, we've been expecting this project for a number of years, and we had set aside money. The two accounts we were going to use is the land and building fund. That's a fund that's dedicated to just building projects and any land purchases we make. We levy each year for that, and any unspent money also helps that fund grow. So every year it's growing a little bit. Unless we have a major project, we use it for one-time expenses. We also have the enterprise fund, which is obviously funded through the federal contracts. So with that, we had set up about $2 million for this project. However, as Carrie just mentioned, it's about 3.4 with the labor. It's a pretty labor-intensive project. So we met with the solid waste department to see if we had any non-restricted funds that would be available to help us out with this project, and there is enough to cover it. So we're a maximum of 1.5 million we've added to the project to use solid waste funds. The plan would be to repay that over time whether it be through a capital project bond or using some of this unspent money to help replenish that fund as well. So that's our plan to pay for the project. Like I said, we had been scheduling this. It just came in a little higher than anticipated.
So a couple of finance pieces for the board to consider. First of all, as Dan said, we are looking forward in the next couple of years of potentially having a capital bond issued. More than likely, that would be for a jail facility, I'll call it expansion or replacement, including Sally Port, booking, special housing unit. Right now, at least the scoping doesn't include adding any new beds other than the special housing unit, probably a new med area as well, doesn't it, Joel? And so we did clear with your bond counsel that should you bond at that time, you can roll this into that bond, and then the repayment could be made that way. Over, as Dan said, the alternative would be to just pay it back over time with essentially dedicated annual funds. The second thing we did is we worked with Lorraine and talked about the impact this will have on interest earnings. And so I don't know, Lorraine, if you want to speak to that or just note that we've kind of looked at that. And obviously that is a budgeting impact because we do budget for revenues from investment income. So by taking essentially $3.5 million out of your current reserves, that will impact future budgets because we won't have that interest earned on that investments. I don't think we put a dollar amount on that, but we could probably wag something real quick if you're interested today. So those are the two pieces we rounded out for you. One is that it could be rolled into a future bond, and then two, that we do want to acknowledge it's going to have an impact on future budgets.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah, but
Commissioner
to
Coles.
clarify on that, you were already budgeting 2 million of that, so that should have been taken into account as far as interest previously anyway.
Not for current year 26. So, and we hadn't begun our 27 projections. So while we were assuming it, it's a real dollar amount. So that's what we have to deal with. Yeah.
So that had not figured into the planning process at that point.
Not for the 26 budget, which was approved. The anticipated revenue interest income for 26 did not include the withdrawal of the 2 million.
Okay.
However,
So-
we have additional revenue coming in that will hopefully offset a lot of that loss.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you know, Dan noted, part of this is funded by the enterprise, which is the federal contracts and state contracts, and even other county contracts, I think, fund some of that. So it is, you know, it started out being a fairly routine budgeting exercise. It's now a little bit more complicated by using solid waste funds, but we did work with Don to make sure that those are accessible by the board. And by board policy, you can utilize those. To use that as a loan versus a grant is also discretionary, but we do recommend the loan.
And then one other question, Madam Chair. Which portions of the facility does this cover?
The entire jail.
So it does replace the piping for the entire
Yeah.
facility at this point.
And if you recall, Carlos Anderson did a needs assessment. This was one of the projects that was attached to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Ted's chomping at the bit to get a sledgehammer in there anyhow, so he's looking good. We may have some evening parties just to help lower the labor costs, but that assumes Don and Stacy will let us from a risk management standpoint. The other thing I wanted to note is you did see some preliminary discussions. Assuming you approve the project going forward, the sheriff has already begun planning for how we will manage that operationally because we will be going through a secure facility in phases. Obviously, that means temporary security. It means contractors going into sensitive areas. It means maintaining operations while renovating. So, you know, you guys know the phrase living in your house while you renovate it, or sometimes it's fixing the plane while you're flying it. And that may or may not include, as you noted, some temporary housing of Sherburne County detainees and other facilities. So the sheriff's been working on that for probably 6 months, and it's operational, and so we probably won't get into the details, but I want you to know that everything is on hold till we decide to move forward with the project. Unfortunately, this is a must-to-do project, so we really don't have an option for you. We're already doing it essentially in phases because of the operational needs, and you can't fix half a building's plumbing unless there's such an age difference, which I believe Kraus Anderson didn't identify, so.
I do have a question in regards to the roughly 3.5, and we already had a projected estimate of 2. Is this won't be like a pay all in one lump sum. It'll be more of a pay as you go, so it necessarily wouldn't affect the total of our investments, I'm assuming?
What's the project
once?
timeline?
To pay as you go, 9 months.
9 months?
Right, it's, if this project moves forward after today, then we plan to have a pre-construction meeting with all of the successful bidders to dial in the project duration. But right now, we're looking somewhere between 9 and 11 months. It's a very phased approach, so we really, based on the fact that it is inside the jail, are limited to working in one housing unit at a time. We can't have inmates in a space where we turn the water off on them. That doesn't work very
Right.
well. So we are looking right now at about a 9 to 11-month project, and hoping that once we get everybody's heads together, we'll be able to confirm that, because it does have a significant impact on the operations of the jail.
And,
Yeah, so the draw, to answer your question,
Right.
the draw, the money, Lorraine will be setting that up. It's probably not a check up front, but
No.
over 6 to 9 months, it's really not a material phase. That's going to make I mean, it'll marginally improve the bottom line, but it's not going to be,
yeah,
you know,
well,
huge.
anything that improves the bottom line is
Yeah.
a step in the right direction.
Well, and I like that idea, shutting off water. You know, Sheriff Arpaio tried that in Arizona it was pretty effective, so, all right.
And then, just to follow on to your question, when would you estimate construction start? Or what's your target to try to get construction start?
Right now, we're tentatively targeting March 16th to start. So once we get everybody's heads together, and we won't be starting construction until we know for sure we have material on site. So it will be dependent on some of the material delivery dates, but right now, we're tentatively looking at March 16th.
Okay.
I have
So the
one quick
proposed-
question for you, either
Commissioner
Ted,
Gray.
Dan, Joel. The project, is it going to be, because it was degraded, the piping, is it going to be an improvement, or is it going to be back to status quo? And why did it degrade so fast over 40 years?
It's, the pipe sizes are actually going to be increased. This has been an issue in the jail for a long time, and in fact, back, I think it was in 2018, there was actually an assessment done on the water that runs through the pipes, and the water quality has a lot of sediment in it, basically, and so the pipe size, it came down to the sediment that was in the pipes, the pipe size, and the velocity to the water that actually moved through the pipes. And every time it would hit a bend, it basically rushed past too quickly and kind of took the walls of those pipes down. And so the increased pipe size is going to lower the velocity to the water that's moving through that. In addition, this project is going to add a filtration system into the whole system, and that's going to be right at the source as it's coming into the jail itself. So it's a twofold correction, if you will. And then the other piece of it that's a part of this is a lot of additional that was horrible English. Quite a few more valves that are going in that will allow the maintenance staff to shut down portions of the jail in ways that they currently are not able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a CM project, or are we doing?
This is a construction manager agent contract type. So that basically means, in layman's terms, that the county will hold all the contracts for the individual trades,
Right.
in addition to a contract for A&P, but we will be overseeing the day-to-day management.
So CM is construction management. It's not a CM at risk, for those of you who know the vernacular. The recommended motion, just to be clear then, would be to approve and award the winning bids for the county jail replacement projects and authorize execution of said contracts. And that would be by the chair and the sheriff probably, and Don, and whoever else needs to do them. So we won't bring the individual subs contracts back to you today. So that would be the recommendation. And then the other thing is any future, agreements, especially if we're going to be using outside facilities, will come back to you probably on consent and be just global, just because, again, we're dealing with operational security issues.
And then one last question.
Yep, Commissioner Halsey.
And I'm only asking the question to get it on record. This project does take into account the potential future expansion of the facilities mentioned earlier, including the new
Special handling unit.
special handling unit, et cetera, correct?
Actually, I don't think that it does, just based on the fact that God, you're gonna have to help me out. There's different water entry points as you move through the jail. And so,
New service would be brought in for a jail expansion.
yeah,
Okay, so it doesn't need to take that into
Correct.
account?
no.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we say jail expansion, we're really talking about replacing current functionality. So there will be, for instance, let's just take the current booking area. That's internal. It'll be repurposed. A new booking area would be built. So when we say expansion, we're not talking new beds. We're talking new function space. That would have new service for water and sewer at that point. They may ultimately be interconnected for fire service and just other things, but it does not include new square footage.
I have one question too. The 1.5 that we're looking to take from the solid waste fund, that won't hamper any of our planning on working towards an HHS facility?
It will be rolled in again when we look at
Okay.
that with that bond that we're talking about. That may function as the need to repay it.
Okay.
Right now, we're planning to take it out of the Dave Lucas Retirement Fund, but
Oh,
that's okay. He's agreed he's going to work for 5 more years until this gets repaid, so.
That was not part of the discussion.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was gone that day, so,
Way
yeah.
way
Now
to
we're all
take it for the
sold.
team. Way to take it for the team, Dave. All right, any other questions? No? All right, then I will be looking for the motion as referenced by Administrator Messel.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Sorry about that. We will be looking at considering the approval of a preliminary and final simple plat of Potato Sack 1, Hardcore Farms, Hartkoff, sorry.
Madam Chair, thank you. These are the recommendations of the December 18th, 2025 Sherburne County Planning Advisory Commission. And we have a 2-lot subdivision. Planning Commission recommended approval of this 2-lot subdivision with 2 conditions. First one is pay the park fees of $2,400 and that the plat is recorded within 1 year.
All right, then I would be, is there any discussion? Do I have any questions for Mark?
Nope.
Then I would be looking for a motion to approve the preliminary and final simple plat of Potato Sack 1 consisting of the 2 lots with the 2 conditions as recommended by the Planning Commission and listed in the background justification for PID number 20-00106-4000 with a legal description, that part of the southeast. Do I have to say all this?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, as presented.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Moving on then, next item on the agenda is to consider the approval of an amendment to the Sherburne County zoning ordinance for wrecker and towing services. Mark?
Yeah, thank you. This is a request from Nick Christensen, a business owner, owns Bob's Towing, and a resident of Sherburne County, and he's looking to establish a wrecker towing service as an interim use in Sherburne County. This amendment would establish a new definition for towing wrecking services. It would establish as an interim use permit in the industrial zoning district, towing and wrecking services, and then establish the performance standards in section 16. So there are 3 different ordinance amendments that are going along with this. Planning Commission did recommend approval. They did provide revised language on the application, which is included in the board's packet for the definition of a wrecker service and the performance standards.
All right, any questions?
No.
Nope, it seems like it's just a simple add of something that probably should have been in there
Should have,
in the
should have
first
probably been
place.
there, yeah. You know, this is, that's a service that every community has to have. We didn't have an ordinance for this. Mr. Christensen stepped up and said, would like to create this ordinance so I can continue to facilitate this type of business in Sherburne County.
Well, I'll move to approve the amendment to Sherburne County zoning ordinance for record and towing service. Yeah,
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have,
just
we have,
discussion-wise, I think it's a great idea to do it. I like the work that they did on figuring out how we're going to define the vehicles, you know? Because a good impound lot is an important thing to have. You got to have places to put those cars when you're taking them away from people who shouldn't be driving them. So that's a great idea. I'm glad we're getting that done.
Yeah, the planning commission had a pretty robust discussion in regards to this, going through the language and stuff. So yeah, I think it was well thought out and well done.
Yep, yep.
all right then. Having had a motion by Commissioner Felber and a second by Commissioner Schumacher, if there are no further discussions, I'll call the question. Roll call.
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next item of our agenda is to consider the approval of an amendment to the Sherburne County zoning ordinance on solar farm prohibition. Mark?
Great. Jim Sanford is bringing this request forward, and we have a prohibition in our current zoning ordinance on certain portions of Haven Town, or Big Lake Township, where solar is prohibited. The applicant came forward and is looking at making a modification to the zoning ordinance for those sections of Big Lake Township, specifically adjacent to existing solar farms, where a lot of the utilities and equipment are already established. So it doesn't completely open up solar throughout that area of Big Lake Township, more so adjacent to existing solar farm operations. The board has seen requests similar to this. We did deny something similar to this back in 2023, in part because we were still going through our planned environmental linkage study for the potential river crossing over Mississippi with Highway 25, and we were in the middle of our comprehensive plan. So the board has seen something like this. With those two studies done, Planning Commission did recommend approval of this proposed amendment.
All right. Any questions? I do have a question. Is that something then that the previous one that was denied, they could bring back a similar request?
This ordinance would affect that property, yes, because they have an adjacent solar farm, and they actually have solar components for their solar farm on their parcel. So yes, they would be they would have that opportunity to request a solar farm at their property.
And have we reached out to them to?
I did
let
inform
know?
them, yep. I
Okay.
informed them of this application process moving forward. They did submit a letter of, support, in regards to this request.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Halls.
when was the original prohibition put in place?
The original prohibition took place in 2019. We put a moratorium on solar along US Highway 10 and US Highway 169, in part because some early transportation studies had identified those areas, the areas of Big Lake primarily, for potential river crossings. And that was kind of the, precipitous of this, is kind of what the reasoning was behind it. Those studies, have since advanced and moved along, and we're now working towards a Tier 1 environmental study without transportation improvements necessarily in this area.
Yep. Administrator Messelt?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Just want to clarify, so the studies have been completed and the proposed solar activity is compatible with those two studies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And then, given that there was an application, what you said 3 years ago, that was denied at the time, we can review that as well and make sure that we not only communicate with that property owner, but if there's any administrative redress, just to say thanks for waiting, then we'll look into that. Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, just
Yep,
from
Commissioner
Big
Halls.
Lake Township, have you heard any concerns?
No, other than the few that have come forward to identify that as something they want to use.
Okay.
Madam Chair, since my commentary is really more commentary than questions, I, at this point, to further discussion, will motion to approve the amendment to Sherburne County zoning section 16.2 subdivision 552A3 to amend language on prohibition of solar farms in the area of Big Lake Township.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Felber,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Commissioner Felber?
So here we are. So ordinarily, I mean, I walk in here and I'm like 100% decided on what I'm going to do with most of this stuff. This is one that's really, really, really difficult for me because, 40% of the Big Lake Board is adamantly opposed to this. And I agree that this area, even though it's all still zoned as agricultural, I mean, this is the way the city's got to expand. So I think the primary concern here is that if we approve this expansion of solar, then it will just keep expanding solar in that area and prohibit other types of development in that area. However, I mean, reading through everything, I mean, this is the best use for this couple of properties, right? Where they're at, I mean, I don't think they have any desire to install additional pivots or anything like that, those types of expenses. I hate to tell people what they're doing, but if there's a way we can make sure that this is it for that zone, that we're going to let people build the solar next to the ones that were built already, that where the existing infrastructure is right there, but it doesn't lead to in some way end up filling all those fields with solar. Not that that's the worst thing for the people who own it, but for where Big Lake, Sherburne County might be 30 years from now, I don't think we want those full of panels, right? I mean, and that's it. I mean, I'm really torn on this thing. I mean, it's absolutely the best thing for the property owners, but I do have concern about, I mean, yeah, solar ain't doing great today on the grid, so, I mean, putting in more is not necessarily the best thing for us all.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Hulse.
So I guess to dovetail a little bit on what Commissioner Felber was saying, I don't know how you say that this is it, because if we approve this, then all of a sudden there's new properties that are adjacent to solar.
Right.
So, I understand where you're coming from on this, but I don't know that we can effectively say, well, this is it. And what I struggle with is that, this is an approved use, for the land, and it's an opportunity for those landowners to make money off of their properties. Now, whether they're making money off their properties by developing it or by putting solar panels on it or
I mean, it's just
farming it.
Well-
I struggle with. I struggle with if it's an approved use. Now, if we want to revisit what an approved use is in our land use documents, then that's something that we could do, or a future board could do. But if it's an approved use, I just struggle with telling people what they can do with their property.
And it's something we might want to take a look at. I mean, the way this is written, it only allows these additional solar in a property that's immediately adjacent to ones that were built before. I forget the exact year, but, the ones that are already there.
Right.
So you can't
Commissioner
build
Gray?
one here and then build another one next to that one. So,
Yeah, and the idea too that to save land, or, I understand what you're saying, but, the future development may come, may not come. This is something that they can instantly do right now. I mean, and it's very tough to say no for the idea that 15 years from now, you might be able to do this, or the city might. That's very difficult to do for a landowner to sit and wait in regards to that. So no, I understand what you're coming from, and I completely agree, but in the same sense, it's a very touchy situation to tell them now, you can't do something, but maybe in 15 years you can. That's a hard thing.
I mean, it's a great way to preserve your property. for
Right,
40
it
years.
is.
Yes.
Preserve your generational wealth.
And one of the things too, that, one thing about solar farms is in the scope of future development possibilities, it's somewhat easy to remove.
Mhm.
and the landowners still own their land. So this is something that I see as a good thing to do for the landowners in these areas adjacent to the existing solar farms. I should say they're actually, aren't they gardens, actually?
Yeah,
They really count as farms. They're not big enough, I don't think, to be farms, are they?
these two fall under solar farms.
They do, okay.
Yeah. and
All right.
Commissioner Mess-
And
Commissioner
Yes.
Danilowski,
Commis-
Administrator Messel has a comment. There you go.
Yes,
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the commission. Yeah, first of all, I think you're smart to keep the two issues separate because the discussion point today was the reason there was a restriction on these properties was because of those previous studies. Second is the review of the solar ordinance is totally appropriate, and assuming you pass the next item, you'll have a Energy Transition Advisory Committee that could, start looking at it this year and see if there are things that are going on in the industry, just to keep a pulse. I mean, we may not change anything, but that's exactly, I think, the intention there specifically because it is something that Excel has embraced very, wholeheartedly, and that's the transition area around Becker. But that would be a place that the ETAC could take a look at it, so.
okay. Any further discussion? No. All right. Then we do have a motion on the table, so I would call for the roll call vote.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
A certain amount of trepidation, aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners,
Okay.
thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you. Next item on the agenda is to review and approve the 2026 committee assignments. And Administrator Messelt.
I'll give Commissioner Felber $5 for foreshadowing this one, so makes my job easier. Yes, pursuant to board direction, we did put together the proposed, thank you guys for coming, by the way. Thank you. All right. The proposed committee assignment list for this year, the three changes that you'll notice are the addition of the two ad hoc committees, one on energy transition and one on elections administration. And then you had requested a change in CMJTS participation. So those are really the three changes at this time. It is normally the board's or the chair's recommendation and then the board's approval of appointments. And so after discussing with the chair, the recommendation is that this be approved for committee assignments for 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulse and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to, just for
Commissioner Gray.
discussion, the Parks and Trails Advisory Committee, Greg, you're on that one as the
Yep.
primary, and Andrew, you guys want to stay there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to participate? 'Cause
Well, I go anyway. I did as commissioner, as chair last year. I went whenever I could.
Well,
Just throwing it out there.
I'm fine with you if you want to be alternate. 'Cause
Okay.
I typically don't go because the primary goes, but if you want to be alternate,
That's fine.
so make, so.
Just do it as amended. If
That's
the,
not
if
just-
motion and second are okay as amended, then.
Yeah, as amended, yep.
Yep, absolutely as amended.
Okay, so then Brian will make that change. Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on then, our next item is to receive the review and accept the auditor treasurer's monthly report for December 2025. Lorraine, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before you is the report for the December 2025. The December preliminary trial balance as prepared by my accounting manager, Sherlyn Kapsner. If you want to go one more, Brian? Yep. Okay. That includes ARPA funds yet of $938,193.09. And the recorder's compliance unallocated account of $371,479 in the general fund. The next 3 pages are the investment report that's prepared by our finance officer, Brenda Davis. Investment earnings are above the targeted budget for 2025 of $1,493, 39.58 at year end. Interest earnings year-to-date total $3,893,039.58 compared to $3,499,103.64 last year. So we are ahead of last year by $393,935.94. I'm going to touch a little bit on the interest that we talked about, that you were talking about for the jail project. This is why when we budget, we do that budget number in July with our existing investments at that time. We don't include our liquid cash that's in the Magic Fund because last year the interest rates did not drop as they were projected, and the fact that we had investments that were now maturing from when we had the 5-year investments when the interest rates were so low, we are able to recoup and keep that above our budgeted amount. I don't believe we changed the budget amount for 2026, but we do have investments that are now earning a little bit more than they were in July when we picked that number. So we will have some cushion there to help cover this jail project. As of last Thursday, Magic was running 3.71%. That's a daily rate. That does change daily, but that's a great rate for our liquid cash right now. So that will help us cover those costs. So just so you know those pieces. This report, of course, is where our money is allocated, where we actually have it sitting on a daily basis. We do have a large amount in Magic because we do have Period 3 settlement, which I'll talk about in a second, and we don't have major collections from now until next May. So that number seems to be very large, but that's why we have to have it. We have to cover the payroll, the bond payments, everything from now until May before we get the majority of our tax collections and levy collections at that time. So can you go forward? So that next report then is our budget to actual report, and that is by function. It is modified accrual. We are working with the audit to get those modified journal entries in there. I will give you an updated December one when that's all together. This is before those modified entries are in there, accounts payable, accounts receivable, those types of things. The tax settlement distribution for Period 3 tax settlement is being worked on right now and will be done by the end of next week. I do have a correction in my letter. I do say that it covers the time frame from May 15th, second half, and it actually is October 15th, second half, until year-end collections. May was settled out earlier. October has already been settled out, so this is just that small time frame from October to now where the collections are quite low, but we have a lot of minor activity going on there. So that's going to be happening shortly. That distribution does get, the journal entry for that gets backdated to December, so the initial trial balance will change when that's spread. Right now, all that money is sitting in Fund 81. It'll get spread to the individual funds when we do that. The other thing we have going on in our office right now is we have started our 2025 audit. Clifton Larson Allen is on site today with several of their people, so you'll see them around and they may come and ask you a few questions. They are our audit team and they're going to help us work through that 2025 audit process. So do you have any questions for me?
Any questions for Lorraine? Okay, if not, then I'd be looking for a motion to.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just clarification, Lorraine, when you were talking about the investment report, you said 1,493, you meant 1 million.
1 million, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
All right.
So again, that reflects conservative budgeting, realizing better than expected return on investment. And the risk is if we over budget, and then we come up short, then we go the opposite way. But that, just want to clarify, it was 1.4, almost
No recoup
1.5
there.
million.
And we do try to look at, you know, the federal rates, what they expect to do. Clearly, 2025, we were initially told to expect 7 reductions. Well, that didn't happen, clearly to our benefit on our daily. So we do have that we look at. It is a daily thing, so it can change very quickly, but we try to work around that, so,
Okay,
okay?
all right, thank you. So if there are no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion to accept the Auditor Treasurer's monthly report for December 2025 as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls,
Second.
second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulls,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you. All right, at this time then, we will recess our regular meeting and open the Community Health Board meeting. So I would be looking to call to order the Community Health Board meeting of January 20th and looking for an approval of our regular meeting proposed agenda.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Felber. Who was my second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Gray. That was the loudest I heard. And a third and a fourth. We're all in agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor, roll call.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulls,
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. First item on our regular agenda then is to consider approval of the official minutes from November 18th, 2025 of the Community Health Board. Looking for a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Felber,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Felber,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And so next up, we're going to receive the Community Health Service Administrator's bi-monthly update. Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners. I feel like I know how to clear out a room. All of a sudden, everybody's gone, but not a real long update.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, not a real long update for today, but a few items. I don't know if the link, Brian, would work. Yes. Give it a try. I just have a quick little video that the local Public Health Association developed this last year. And we don't need to watch the whole thing, but I think the first about 2.5 minutes might be helpful, and just know that this is out there and you can certainly share it.
I love public health. Public health is community health at its base. It is the health of the whole community, the whole population together, as opposed to the individual health that we usually think about health to be. It's not about the individual. It's about the whole field of corn. When I plant corn, I want each stalk to be healthy, but ultimately, it's across the whole field that I'm going to do things to make that whole crop be healthy. And that's what public health is.
When public health works well, most people don't notice it. And as a result of that, it's hard to measure and monitor and even advocate for over long periods of time. And so when we do our work well, it's really almost invisible. It's hard to communicate that to folks who don't know much about public health. And it's also hard for folks who are in public health to kind of describe that to folks. How do you advocate for something that hasn't happened?
Very often, individuals think of public health as something that gets done to them, instead of something that gets done with them and for them.
I think when people think about health, they think about going to the doctor when they're sick. But in public health, we really try to prevent things before they happen. So working with the community to do education about if there's some kind of disease outbreak, whether it's COVID or the flu or STIs, and also just educating them about what health services are available in the community.
Our community was telling us that they were having a hard time keeping track of what are all the resources available to us. We don't know where to go for certain kinds of things. And so we're working on developing some interesting resources that will help people navigate that and find what they need online. And so they would be able to do that independently. And then that would be able to serve many people at the same time.
In the home visiting programs that I do, I see families prenatally through 2 years of age. And we promote things like a healthy pregnancy and prenatal care, and then postpartum care after birth, up until their child's 2 years old.
We offer vaccine clinics to prevent infectious disease outbreaks. We offer different safety clinics. We have specially trained car seat technicians that work to help make sure that families have their car seat installed properly in their car. It sounds like a simple thing, but actually it can be very complicated to make sure that everything is tightened and fits in just the right way so that we keep those little ones safe.
In our health department, we have about 7 different programs.
I'll say the last bit is a little bit more on environmental health, which we don't do a lot of here in Sherburne County, but no, you can watch the rest of it. It's just a short little clip. But this is just part of a strategy that we've had over the last year to really improve our communication and really try to relate what we do to folks that maybe aren't as familiar with public health. So I think I've quoted we care about the whole field of corn more than I'd like to admit, but it really did resonate with some folks that we were trying to build some additional relationships with. So care about the individual, care about the whole field. So that's what we have there.
I think we should use, care about every potato in the field.
We should. Yeah. So yeah, Commissioner Gray, maybe the next time they're asking for a spokesperson, you get to volunteer for that.
Have to Sherbanize it.
Yeah.
We've also been working on updating our strategic plan like many of other departments and the county in general have. And so we have a nice little overview of what we've been working on. And since we did a pretty robust revamp a few years ago, this was really just bringing the group back together and kind of reviewing where we were at. But we did update our vision a bit to be a trusted source of public information, partnering with the community to ensure optimal health and well-being for all. Really trying to solidify that one of our roles is really to help offer and support information and data around health. And then just a few other points. Priority is really amongst our division to cultivate integration. We have lots of different programs and services that are directly involved for clients, but then there's also those population things where we're looking to work with cities and businesses and parks and trails across the county and the state to really have better health policies or health strategies so that the larger population gets some benefit from those. And then a couple of objectives there that we're going to be working towards. So this is just a little 2-pager, and we'll certainly post this to the website as well as the entire plan once we're feeling like this is a good reflection of the Community Health Board. But just really like the strategic plan is part of the foundational capabilities work that we do. It is one of those requirements in those bottom 8 areas. So just trying to really exemplify why these all get linked and connect together. We used a lot of assessment and tools to kind of come to this, really trying to focus on root cause. Like if we go way down the stream, what really would be a game changer for a lot of strategies? So part of that was really just concentrating on our staff to say, do you know how much your work intersects? And then how do you carry that out with your community partners or with partners within our county? And long-term, we're just looking to really optimize the relationships, build knowledge and skills, maximize engagement, and then advance the community's health. And we do have some measures, so we will be measuring our progress over the next couple of years. I will say we didn't do as great doing this in the last cycle, so really deliberately trying to measure our improvement and our engagement across our strategic plan over the next couple of years. Speaking of performance measures, we've also solidified that we have 3 really kind of high-level population measures that we are going to be deliberately working on and reporting on. And one is reducing tobacco-related deaths. One is reducing deaths by suicide, and then the third is increasing food security. And so our staff have really been brainstorming about how they contribute to those population measures, knowing that we're just one small sliver of what reduces tobacco-related deaths, what reduces suicide, what reduces or improves food security. But what are we doing, and then are we measuring that? So more to come on that. We'll be excited to bring some of those results back. We're tracking our baseline and our targets right now, so at the end of this month, we should have some more solid numbers in there. And of course, wanting to have input from our Community Health Board. I don't know if this is a question or asking for responses today, but just really thinking about, what is the vision of the Community Health Board for Sherburne County? Are we hitting the marks? There's lots of things out there that help inform where we're going to prioritize our time. Does that align with where our board is feeling that those strategies should be aligned with?
I have a question, Nicole.
Yeah.
So when you are looking at focusing on suicide.
Correct.
A lot of times that comes from mental health.
Correct.
Is there a reason why we are not focusing on how to improve mental health and having that be one of the subsets of mental health?
It's a great question, and I will tell you, this one made me think too. So yes, we will focus much of our strategies on mental health and well-being, but an indicator that is a solid data tracking is that suicide data. I will say there's a variety of mental well-being data indicators that we can use, but they're not always very standard. They're not as localized. We've actually requested the suicide-related death data for the last 5 years, and we have a small group across the central Minnesota region in the 3 counties that are actually diving into that to find if there are root causes that we can identify so we can really target kind of moving back. So kind of the same thing that we're thinking about with our strategic plan. What is that root cause? We think we know some of those things, but I was told by a very smart man out of Coral Gables, Florida, quit going with your gut. Follow the data. Look at what those commonalities are. Where are the zip codes? What was the time of death? What was the means? So it is a really intense work group, and we've gotten some guidance from some partners at the Baldridge Foundation. And so we're going to try it and see how it goes. We don't have as specific for the other 2 measures, but this one was one that we really kind of are piloting as, is this a way to do data collection on this?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Hulse.
And I'm glad to see that that's one of the focuses, suicide prevention. I do think we have a number of resources that are also in the county, also focused on that same thing, whether it's through Veteran Services or whether it's through independent organizations such as Thumbs Up and those sort of things. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that, and hopefully we partner with some of those other entities as well.
Yeah, we really understand. We have a sliver of that in mental health and well-being, and so many people are doing great work, but we may not have a measure. I'm not sure if Thumbs Up has ever really looked at that data to say, are we moving the needle on suicide deaths? I'm sure they have. I don't know about some other partners, so that's really hoping what we're hoping to focus on over the next couple of years.
Can you go back one slide?
Oh, sure.
When you say commercial tobacco-related death, baseline of 20%, how do you determine that it's tobacco-related?
The Department of Health does. So they use different criteria with diagnosis codes.
Okay.
So let's say it was esophagus cancer. They have data that says, and it was linked to a commercial tobacco-related use.
Okay.
So yeah, we're relying on the Minnesota Department of Health for that data.
Okay. Cool.
Any more comments on this slide or thoughts from the group? And again, like I don't expect a response today, but for you to be thinking about as we move forward.
Any other questions?
No.
No, thank you.
And it's also annual reporting time. So we are required by statute every year to report on a specific number of measures and performance criteria every year by March 31st of the year, and so we will be reporting on 2025. We recently got all of our information back for reporting on 2024. There are 46 national measures that we typically report on, but we've also realigned in 2023 with those foundational capabilities, so we have just some baseline data from 2023. They also highlight, our SHAC committee and MDH typically highlight some of those measures every year just to kind of really get a pulse on where Minnesota is. Last year, we looked at assessment and data surveillance, and we had measure 1.3.3, how do we use data to recommend and inform public health actions? We had to submit some additional documentation and data about how we felt we met that or didn't meet that. And then we got some feedback from the Department of Health. They gave us a thumbs up. Yes, we feel you fully met that measure. For this year coming up, we will be reporting on an area in emergency preparedness, 2.2.5, maintain a risk communication plan and a process for urgent 24/7 communication with response partners. So we've been working on those things, obviously, throughout 2025. We'll submit that information along with our other 46 measures and all of the financial information, and then we'll get a feedback report on how we're doing. We don't fully meet a lot of the measures. We may have some minimally met, we may have some substantially met. That's a work in progress. For health agencies that are meeting more of those at a fully met level, they typically are accredited, the Public Health Accreditation Board across the nation. That is not something that we've moved towards. It takes a lot of capacity and expertise to kind of really refine that, but Minnesota helps us get ourselves set up for that by just doing that as part of our annual reporting. Just to let you know, those are some of those upcoming opportunities for 2026. This hasn't changed, but just know that we are available should anyone want to meet or ask us questions about any of the committees or the work that we're doing. I will also say that we have a couple of items in development that we hope to bring to you in early 2026. One is a collaboration agreement for the partner counties in the Central Minnesota Alliance, really trying to solidify some of that work with more than a handshake. And the Attorney's Office has been very helpful in helping us to develop that language. And then also we're working on a Central Region Public Health Emergency Preparedness Mutual Aid Agreement. We have different regions than our emergency management across the state, and so really just making sure that should we need to share resources across counties, that we have some foundational information already developed. Also, just a quick update, the flu is heavy in Minnesota right now. There's been 3,500 hospitalizations. The majority of those are the 80-plus age group, but then also the second highest is those in the 0 to 4 range. So just know that. The old and the young tend to be those most affected. And we've had, I think, a small amount of deaths, but just know that, you know, Minnesota definitely is seeing an increase in flu. And last, I'm not sure you all love Facebook or you follow different entities on Facebook, but we are trying to be very active. Again, that communication strategy and engaging with our community. We have a variety of different posts going on, and we do try to do that very routinely and increase our followers. So you'll see some of our family feedback from our First Steps grant area where we're visiting families, information about the flu, dental clinics, quit partners, and then we've also started in 2025 Meet Our Staff. So really just that we're not public health people, that the government, we're real people, we're part of your community, and hopefully you get to know us. And I think that's it, if there's any questions.
Are there any questions for Nicole? No. And I have seen the Meet the Staff on Facebook. That's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, if there are, pardon?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. All right. At this time, then, I'll adjourn the Community Health Board and reconvene our regular board meeting.
Could we have a motion to accept the Community Health Services Administrator's report?
Better put us back into
Sorry.
our health board meeting. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Okay, reconvene our health board meeting to accept the presentation as presented from Nicole Ruhoff.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Gray. Roll call.
Commissioner Danielowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Fowler,
Aye.
Commissioner Schumacher,
Aye.
Commissioner Gray,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulse.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now I'll adjourn the health board meeting and bring us back into our regular board meeting. All right, at this time on our regular agenda, we are at the commissioner correspondence, committee reports. And who,
Madam Chair, just real quick before you start your reports, the sheriff asked me to note, just for clarification, the comment made about the water quality in the jail was not about meeting minimum standards. It was about quality within the standards. So there are no specific issues about health standards with the water. It meets all health and quality standards, but it's kind of like, is the water hard? Is it, have TDS in it, whatever. So it's not a health issue or a life safety issue. It's just simply a quality issue. And we'll clarify that with the media as well, because we don't want folks thinking that the water is not meeting minimum state and federal standards.
thank you for that clarification. All right, so commissioner correspondence. Let's start with Commissioner Felber.
Sure. Okay, so since we discussed before, we're gonna try to make this a little briefer. I started out this, I did the ETAC Executive Committee, the Energy Transition Advisory Committee, did that one. I went to the Veterans ERG. That was a good meeting discussing benefits for veterans in Sherburne County. I did the NACO Public Safety meeting. There was a discussion of the 287G. The Tri-County Long Range Planning Subcommittee, there's one thing I should mention there, that the tonnage for, that we are currently sending as the Tri-County going to Pope Douglas to go through the burner is going to keep going down 5,000 tons each year. That's something we got to look at in the long run. I did an economic conditions conference with the Federal Reserve Bank. That was very long and it was very interesting, discussing employment and economic factors around the Midwest. Did a couple different webinars, the state policymakers' role in nuclear energy and load growth, and the Resilient Communities webinar, What's Up with Data Centers, Part 1, Understanding Energy and Water Use. That was all good stuff. I attended the MESB meeting via remote because I was out of state. Did the Rural Action Caucus. And I did want to mention that as I thought about this as driving down County Road 11 yesterday, our roads have been great this winter. It's been a pretty challenging winter for keeping the roads nice with the ice and everything coming and going, but I really want to congratulate Public Works on a great job that they've done all winter long, keeping the roads very, very passable. The last thing I want to mention is that it is the 20th of January, and in 2026, and already this year, 4 police officers nationwide have died in the line of duty. 2 canines were shot and killed in the line of duty. I have lost track of how many officers have been shot in the line of duty this year. 4 officers have been shot in ambush attacks, not serving a warrant, not making an arrest, simply attacked for wearing the uniform and being in a squad car. There have also been literally thousands of assaults on police inside the state of Minnesota. Thousands of individual assaults on police inside the state of Minnesota. This has to stop. And where it's actually going to stop is it's got to stop with the elections that we do in 2026. And that's all I got to say about that for now.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Schumacher.
Thank you. My top 2 items for commissioner correspondent reports are constituent calls and then a visit to M Health Fairview Northland Medical Clinic in Sherburne County. What a fantastic facility, well supported, well staffed. I will actually be back there this afternoon to the foot doctor. Those are my 2. Thank you.
You kind of went above and beyond actually checking into how a health facility provides their services, I have to say.
Yep, it's ballerina on ice. It's called that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Schumacher. Commissioner Gray.
Surprisingly, I didn't think I had that much going on, but actually I did. I did the MOSAC, which is the Minnesota Area Water Supply Advisory Council. I did their planning workshop. And the thing I'll say about that is I didn't realize the scope of the complexity of the municipal water systems and what all of them do differently to make drinking water presentable for their constituents. It's fascinating to sit and listen to them and what they deal with. It's not like us up here, we drill a well and we got water. 90% of it's probably, drinkable. Where down there, they're treating and doing all kinds of things differently within that 7-county metro area. That was fascinating. I did the Connexus breakfast, which is very similar to the XL breakfast. I did the Mental Health Local Advisory Committee, which is done at Options, which was, just sit and listen. Fascinating thing about that is some of the clients from the Options community sit on that committee and make decisions for that, which I think they're included in that, I think is awesome. The CAMI Community Adult Mental Health Initiative, I sat in on that. I met with the Sheriff's Department staff for a meet and greet. The zoning subdivision workshop, I think, Rand, you zoomed in, or you came in late, I left.
Yep.
I left after that one. The sub-coalition meeting, I sat and listened in on. The MICA, one thing I caught from the MICA meeting, the Minnesota Intercounty Association, is Nancy mentioned that the act was ruled unconstitutional. Is that viable?
No, what was ruled unconstitutional was the phased-in approach to the act.
Okay.
So Hennepin County and Ramsey County piloted for the state how it will look for the rest of us in January 2027. And they used a phased-in approach, and the state Supreme Court ruled that that's unconstitutional.
Okay.
It violates the equality. I'm going to help me out here, Don.
Basically, if I may interject, it's just what they decided is that because you're giving it to some people, but
And not
to
all.
some other people,
Right.
that's not
Right.
adequate distribution.
Yeah.
Constitution.
Equal protection, I guess, is.
Madam Chair, yes, if I can interject, it was a number of arguments, including equal protection, and it was not the state Supreme Court, it was actually a district court judge in Hennepin County, so.
Okay.
So is it being appealed? Maybe that's what I was looking for.
I have not heard what the latest is on that. I'm not sure that Ms. Larson has either, so that I can't speak to. But yes, that's one of the issues now, is to see what evolves from that Hennepin County decision.
And that really does drive the all or nothing approach, and it may give us some impetus for the legislative discussion. So also, next board meeting, we'll just quickly look at that. You asked for the update on our legislative strategy, so we'll have that ready for the next board meeting.
All right, thank you.
Then on the 15th, I did the SWCD. Also on the 15th, the East Central Irrigators, the Benton County Corn Growers. We mentioned mental health with, and you mentioned it with the veterans and all of that. I think, realistically, you have to mention it with the farming community. It is such a doom and gloom situation right now with commodity prices, input costs. It's just a bad situation. So, but that was a good meeting. And then I did the planning and zoning on that Thursday evening.
Well, that wasn't for thinking you didn't do much.
That's what I thought.
All
until I
right.
started writing them all down.
Okay. Commissioner Halls.
Yeah, so my top two items is, one was economic development, which of course you sit on as well. For those that don't know, the Economic Development Authority is a group of constituents from the community and business leaders, as well as a few of us from the county. And one of our big projects that we're working on is really trying to attract business into Sherburne County, manufacturing and all kinds of business, but including manufacturing. And that project is going quite well. I'm quite pleased with the progress that we're seeing on that. So very, very impressed. The other one I want to bring up is I spent a lot of time on the phone with the city of Elk River, as well as constituents, on the change within solid waste, specifically within yard waste within Sherburne County. And so I want to just spend a few minutes and clarify what that is and how that worked. So there's a number of cities in the county that run yard waste facilities. The county has a program where we reimburse cities a portion of or most of the cost of running those yard waste facilities, specifically for residential yard waste. we have seen over a number of years an increase in commercial waste going into those facilities. So that's not what the reimbursement program is designed for. We don't want taxpayer money going to reimburse commercial dumping of that waste, because taxpayer money shouldn't be supplementing the P&L of a private business. What happened is the Elk River facility wanted to continue to allow for commercial yard waste. They felt like that served their constituents. They felt like it was a way to make sure there's not illegal dumping and those sort of things. And they didn't feel like there was a good way to separate residential versus commercial yard waste. The reason that becomes important is another aspect of the commercial program is if we have a source-separated organics facility drop-off, the county reimbursement program requires use of that facility. For Elk River, what they took into account was if they had to dump all their commercial waste as well as their residential waste, it was a cost increase to them of about $50,000. So they decided they were going to move away from the county program, and because they were accepting both commercial waste as residential waste, they decided that they couldn't handle waste outside the city, and so they opted that they were going to close it off so that only Elk River residents and Elk River businesses based in Elk River could use that facility. Because of that, the other cities that operate their facilities did the opposite. So they said, okay, well, we don't want, because Elk River's is using their facility specifically for residents, we, from a capacity standpoint, can't have Elk River residents coming to our cities and dumping the waste. There could be a capacity issue there. There's also a cost issue there. And so what ended up happening is just like Elk River wanted to determine who could use that facility, the other cities wanted to do the same thing. And so consequently, Elk River was charging for use of that facility while the other facilities are not. And that's also part of the reimbursement program, is that they should be open to the townships and those sort of things. So that's where it stands. There is a lot of concern within the residents of Elk River of having to pay for those cards. It's a $25. Elk River's decided to charge $25 a year for the residential cards. There's also concern within the residents of Elk River not being able to use the other facilities in the county. Those are all a number of decisions made within the individual cities that run those facilities. We have, with the solid waste group and myself, have a number of discussions with the city of Elk River on some alternative ways that they could go about and re-enter the program. One of which would be going ahead and separating their commercial and residential waste, opening the residential side back up to everybody, and it would need to be free, those types of things. And then it would operate from a residential standpoint the same way that it always has. But it would have to be separated commercial. The county program would not pay for, commercial waste, the disposal of commercial waste and those sort of things. So there's some options there that the city is working through and trying to make a decision on what the right way is to go. And there's more to come on that, but there was a considerable amount of energy and discussion on that change within the city. So sorry for taking so much time on that, but I thought it was important to clarify.
No, and thank you for that update, because yes, it's a very active conversation that happens, which I can understand totally. So if there's a way to work through it and make the residents happy as versus a separation opportunity for the commercial end of it, I look forward to hearing how that's going to lay out. Anything else? All right. Well, for myself, I attended on January 8th, the APO meeting up in St. Cloud. Not a lot. We had a few updates, and we also did an election of officers and kept the the presiding officers that were slated the same, because they can each serve X amount of years repetitively in their terms. Also, one of the things that I was able to do, I was able to ride up with Gina Hugo to the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe 42nd Annual State of the Band Address. And it was really, that was on Tuesday, January 13th. It was really quite the, quite something to see and how they do that. Very, lot of ceremonial, and they had a very good, strong address. So I just wanted to say that. Anybody has the opportunity next year to attend it, I would highly encourage that. Also then made it back for the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee that Commissioner Gray referenced. We continue to work through the updates and stuff with Bolton & Menk is the firm that we have partnered with to work through those potential changes. More to come when we finally get a lot of things nailed down. Also on January 14th, attended the SUP Coalition meeting, and that same day later attended the Big Lake Township meeting. January 15th, the Sherburne County EDA, as Commissioner Hulls referenced, and yes, I concur with him that I think there's a lot of exciting things that are happening at the EDA level and working hard to bring in opportunities for business growth. Also then, that same day, attended the ATP3 planning regional meeting up in St. Cloud. And then that evening, had a joint annual meeting with the City of Big Lake, the Big Lake School District, Big Lake Township, and Orac Township. And that's something we do yearly, just to be able to get in the same room, give an update on what has transpired, and if there's anything that's coming up that any of the partner entities would want to be aware of. January 16th, attended the Big Lake SUP Coalition meeting. And then also then on, forgot to mention on January 14th, also had an agenda review and the NACO CEWD meeting, which basically involved a lot of conversation around the upcoming legislative conference. And that was pretty much it for me. Okay. If there's nothing else in regards to commissioner correspondence, then I would be looking at this time for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Felber. Roll call.
And just prior to roll call, we'll note that we'll do workshop in the conference room, and Brad, I'll send you a separate link for the workshop, okay? Commissioner Felber.
Oh,
or motion to
aye.
adjourn. Commissioner Schumacher.
So moved. Or motion,
Commissioner Gray.
accept.
Aye.
Commissioner Hulls.
Aye.
Commissioner Danielowski.
Aye. With that,
5-0, all in favor.
we are adjourned.